Welcome to Life After Neverland, and today we're taking you on a walk because we're trying to burn off some calories. But before we get started, please take a second, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you can be involved every time we put a video out. Jump in the comments, let you know what you think. We're going to give you our opinions, but we want to hear yours too. So take a second, throw some love, and let's get started.
What? Alright, so what do we know already? We know that Tyler won the HOH, and that of course our favorites, Janelle and Kaser, are on the block, and we have absolutely no hope for Janelle.
Or Kaser, one or the other.
No matter how hard Janelle tried, no matter how many awesome angles she tried to aim at Cody and Tyler and the other house guests, it just wasn't enough, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, she walked into the house with the biggest target, especially having Kaser there. Everyone immediately knew they were going to work together, so they became a power couple the second they walked in the door. And then, Nicole starts doing her, victimizing and making Janelle seem like a bad guy. People jumped on it. Poor Janelle never stood a chance.
She didn't. The minute that she got into that house, her back was up against the wall. So here we are with Janelle leaving the BB house. How depressing, how sad. One of the things I loved so much is honestly just having those little moments that we got to have with Kaser and Janelle, talking about past times in the house, how Kaser hasn't even seen the block without Janelle ever. That's pretty fascinating and says so much about their friendship and their connection, which we truly did get to see this season.
Yeah, the other fun fact is Kaser's never been in the house without Janelle.
What did you guys think about Nicole Franzel's exit speech to Janelle?
I thought we were friends, outside the house. I thought we were cool. Apparently we're not. So you know what? Don't bother showing up to my wedding.
You know what I loved about that, guys, is if you watched Janelle, she held her head up high. She didn't even make a face or have any reaction at all. And if I know what I know about Janelle, she wasn't going to give that to Nicole. And she even said that in one of the episodes. She's not going to give Nicole Franzel what she wants, which is a reaction. She literally lets things roll off of her shoulders.
She keeps all of her cards close, and she doesn't give anyone the victory of seeing her upset. Now, when the votes came in, it was surprising to even Janelle to find out that 2 votes were thrown in her favor, and her first thought was, Day and Bay, and then she finds out they're not.
See, I would have thought it was Day and Bay too if I were her.
And then Julie lets her know, which this is proof that there's no battle back, because Julie's giving them way too much information.
Unfortunately.
But it ended up being Enzo and Danny, and even Janelle was like, Danny?
Yeah.
I think that was a shocker to everybody. Enzo's already thrown out a few rogue votes just to kind of keep everyone on their toes. I think that's part of the Meow Meow's game. The Meow Meow, he does what he does, he do what he do.
He do what he do.
But I don't understand Danny's perspective. Do you have a theory?
We were both talking about how this was the major alliance. Are they called the community now? I thought they were called the commissioners, but I guess they're called the community, or is that another alliance that
I've stopped trying to keep up.
So anyways, that they put in place to throw some of the other house guests off, to basically put Devon in the hot seat. I really do think that, and Bailey. They're trying to throw Devon and Bailey in the hot place.
So I agree with you. I think that they're gonna blame that rogue vote on someone.
That's gonna be bad.
Yeah, and it is gonna be bad. And so I don't want people to get too frustrated. If you watch Big Brother Twitter, you see everyone's like, this season's ruined. Janelle's gone. I wasted my money. The show's over. Listen, we've said this before, and seasons have still come, halfway through, and they were fun to watch. Listen, I like Tyler. I like Cody. The problem is we love Janelle and we love Kaser.
Yes.
So we have a jolt. Guys, listen, we're gonna recover from this. We're gonna digest it. We're gonna accept it. And now we're going to find new favorites in the house, because Christmas is a likable person. Ian is a likable person. Cody, Tyler. We don't have racist, bully people like we did last season.
Yes.
This season still has a chance. Don't give up, people. This is Big Brother.
And I have to say, watching Cody and Tyler go against each other in this last episode that we saw last night, I loved it. Because they both are pretty awesome physical threats. And it seems as that was a mental one. That was a mental game, maybe a little physical
A little
too.
physical, a lot of mental. Watching
Yeah.
Tyler and Cody go full force against each other, like that was pretty impressive.
I did enjoy it.
Those were all-stars right there, people.
Yeah.
Say what you want, that was 2 all-stars battling it out.
Yes, and just a few fun things that happened on the last few episodes that we saw since you last saw us. I think some of my favorites were definitely Christmas with her punishment, hilarious. Having those babies and then just completely and utterly monopolizing her entire days and just seeing her being a hot mess. I would love to be the person who gets to mess with her like that. That was funny. I loved it.
You know what's funny is I saw, you know, obviously when you're watching the Twitter feeds, you get spoilers. And I saw a lot of people saying that Christmas's punishment was lame. So when I went into the episode, I was like, okay, here comes the stupid punishment. I mean, I don't know if it was the edits or what, but when I was watching it, I was like, okay, that is funny. Like, I thought that was a really funny. Now I know that it hit some people the wrong way. Some of the older players that have children at home, they heard the crying, they heard the mama, and it stirred up. So that kind of sucked. Okay, like we don't have kids, you know, so we don't understand what that felt like for them.
Yeah.
So that aside, that sucked. But the challenge, the punishment by itself, it was pretty funny.
I thought it was hilarious. And
Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's 2 more. Here's 3 more.
I honestly thought it was much better than Janelle's. You
Yeah.
know? And Ian's just was a little bit lackluster for me. So this one was good for
Oh,
me. I liked it.
I thought Ian's was funny. I think it might have been a little lackluster because
How he was.
Ian is probably not
doing
the
it.
best person to get that
Do
punishment.
You know who would have been funny? Enzo. If Enzo would have had Ian's punishment, I think he would have rocked it and made it
Enzo, which
hilarious.
I know you mean to say meow meow because
Meow
that's what
meow.
the meow meow.
Because he's really having a lot of fun in this game. So, you know, there are little rays of sunshine, even though we don't have Janelle and Kaser, like Sean said. One of the other things I thought was cute was the conversations that Ian is having with some of these house guests. You know, I really pray that Ian will stay safe for a while because I really do enjoy him so much.
Well,
I loved his conversation. Don't forget to say what I know you're going to say. I loved his conversation with Janelle when she was putting on all of her beauty regimen. And I loved the conversation that he was having with Christmas when he was trying to play dumb. He's just, I love him so much.
And the cliff note on the when Janelle was putting on her face peel,
Vampire mask.
he's like, you know how much acid is in that, right? Like, you know how that's acid eating your and she's like, no, it's only 3% acid. And he's like, no, that's not what that number means. And he started like breaking down the mathematical equation of how much acid is in it, and she's like, okay, I'm taking this off my face now. You know, it really sucks because, spoiler alert, if you're watching this, you probably already know, but so Enzo wins the new head of household, and you know, I like Enzo, but Enzo's not necessarily aligned with my other favorites, so I think that's the only reason why I'm like, oh no, not Enzo, because I like Enzo, but I don't want him to put one of my favorites, and unfortunately, the latest conversation is he's going to be putting up Kaysar, which none of us want to see that happen. And I want to talk about why that does not make sense. And then if Kaysar, and then a pawn next to Kaysar, and then if Kaysar wins the veto, he's talking about backdooring Ian.
Who's going to go on next to, is it Davon?
Well,
Is he going to put Davon and Kaysar?
He just said a pawn, so he hasn't really gotten that far in the conversation yet. But, so Kaysar is a wounded duck. He's got no alliance. He's not a competition beast. In fact, I don't even know if he's ever even won a competition. And like, there's no reason to go after him now. He is not a threat. And anyone who wants to eliminate people who are not, I guess you can argue you can't go after your alliance members yet, so you have limited options. But I think there's still other options. I think putting Kaysar up is just...
It's pointless. Here's the
pointless.
deal. If you're going to put people up on the block that are a threat, Janelle and Kaysar were going to go home anyways. Anyone who is HOH, for the most part, I believe, would have put them up. I'm serious. So it's, yes, Tyler has this on his resume, but if Cody or Memphis or maybe Danny or even Nicole Franzel, they would have put Janelle and Kaysar up too. It would have been on their resume. Maybe not Memphis, I'm not sure, but I'm pressed to believe he would. And even Janelle says she's kind of a bit worried for Kaysar because of the deal with Memphis. They kind of think Memphis is on their side. And in that sense, I think Memphis is doing fairly well, even though he is hugely egotistical.
Yeah, he did it. He tricked Kaysar and Janelle into thinking that he was on their side, which no matter what, you've got to give him props for that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the way he's acting in the house.
No.
So I'm talking strictly from a game perspective.
Exactly.
That's impressive. And also, we have to give Tyler extra credit because Janelle is a comp beast, and she would have won that competition where they were sliding the beers across, had Tyler not put up a very impressive score.
So true.
So Tyler literally saved his alliance, because Janelle wins that head of household. His alliance loses a number this go around.
So moving into the last part of our discussion here today is David Alexander. So if you watch the episodes, you know that Tyler mentioned that Danny, sounds like a telephone, doesn't it? Mentioned that Danny said that Davon wasn't going to vote for David to stay when David and Nicole Anthony were up on the block. I don't believe that to be true, and it does seem that, unless I missed something, guys, okay? I feel like right there towards the end, Nicole Anthony was even saying that she didn't have Davon's vote because she had a moral issue that she was dealing with. That was right towards the end there. So I feel like that is misinformation, and it could possibly be a seed that was planted by Danny. And that is why Danny and Nicole Franzel might stay in this game a little bit longer, because they're being snakish and sneaky and conniving. These guys, I think that they just think, oh, they're just drama. They're playing the game. And right there you have David is having feelings for Davon, and I don't know, it seems as if Davon might have some feelings for David. So when they're having that conversation that you see last night on the episode, it's emotional for David, because now he's dealing with his feelings for Davon and how that affects him, aside from possibly being jolted in the game, what he thinks, by Davon. So he makes the rookie mistake of saying that Tyler and Cody fed him that information. Really, it was Danny. So Tyler's all freaked out because Cody and Tyler's name were brought up like that, and we all know David clearly can't keep his mouth shut, but who else do we know that has been known to not be able to keep her mouth shut? Bailey and Davon, and I know that they've been working on it. They've definitely been working on it. Bailey's been doing such a great job this season at managing her feistiness, but I don't think that this is going to hurt Tyler and Cody at all. Like, I feel like Tyler's being dramatic.
Well, Tyler was only concerned because he could not compete in the next head of household competition, so he was vulnerable. And if Davon would have won, or Bailey would have won, he would have been target number one. So that's why he was mad. But for his game, luckily, neither one of them won. And now he knows next week he can compete in the head of household competition again. So I think he was just mad for this next week, but now he's safe because Enzo's not going to put him up.
It's highly possible that Tyler is a perfectionist. I mean, he's good at, he's really good at this game. But he's going to be fine. I mean, that's just a prickle.
Right.
Him and Cody have themselves in so many different alliances. Obviously, none of us can keep track of all of them. He is sealed in tight for a while.
Right, and he's really good at delivering honest information without upsetting people, and that is worth its weight in gold.
Tyler's threat is that he's so freaking likable. I mean, I think so. I think Tyler's very likable. So what was I gonna say? David Alexander, I feel bad. I really, like I said this, I'm so perplexed by David because he came into this game again, and I was just hoping for the best, but he's just too green. Nicole Anthony, unfortunately, still was just a little bit too green, or it was too soon, but the last thing I want to say about David is I thought he would come into this game using some of the skills I thought I saw last season, which was being more of a strategic player. I really thought I saw glimpses of strategy and also intuition. But this season, I think that being in a house full of all-stars, as well as possibly having feelings for someone like Davon, who is a big personality, and maybe thinking that she did him wrong, it's just going to be his demise at this point. He's not strong enough yet to deal with that type of stuff, nor mature. I can't believe some of the decisions he's making.
Isn't it funny when you get a couple people in the house that are rookies and you put them with a bunch of all-stars? It's funny how when people play one season of Big Brother, how good they are when they come back and play another season of Big Brother. Like, it's crazy. It's like dealing with like a college athlete versus an NFL professional athlete. Like, they got the game figured out, they know their strategy, they know how to make alliances.
Yeah.
And then the rookies come in like...
Nicole Anthony had a shit season dealt. A turd sandwich with a lot of abuse in her season. And so when she came in, she was thinking people were coming after her, were conspiring against her. Literally, she was the epitome of what Catherine always says, Cat. She was thinking all of those things in her head, and she ultimately blew herself up. David never played a full game. Not once. He never played a full game. So it's understandable he's going to make these mistakes, guys. Don't you think?
So let's all band together. Let's try to what is it that they always say? We want the universe. We want to.
Let's manifest.
Manifest. Thank you. We want to manifest. K-Star and Ian need to survive this week.
And Davon.
They're They're both Enzo's targets. I think David is target number 3. If those two don't go, it's going to be David. A lot of the house wants David at this point. So let's hope it's David. Let's try to put a protective bubble around Ian and Keister.
Yes.
I hope they can survive this week.
Thanks everyone for watching. Everyone who's subscribed, please know how much we appreciate you. And those of you who haven't, please give us a subscription. We would love to continue on with you moving forward, talking about BB and many of the other things we cover here on our channel. Let us know in the comments down below which All-Star you want to see up on the block this week. See you soon, everybody.
Bye.